whether Hindu, Muslim, or Christian, happy, happy Indian Arrival Day. Circumstances that indentured laborers came in 1845 were not the best. They were offered contracts and 3 or 5 year contracts, and if they didn't want to stay, their passage was paid back to India. And those who remain, they worked on the plantations. It may not have been the best conditions. They worked and they were paid. As small as it was, their terms and condition of employment was much different than ours, the African person, the African descent, because we did not get a terms and condition of employment, nor did we get a contract. But that will come up later for Emancipation Day. However, again, in Arrival Day, they arrived in 1845 on the Fazal Razak, and the Indian community has been here ever since. They have strived or thrived. They would have done well in academics, music, culture, medicine, law, and all spheres of life, and that is kudos to them. They came and they were allowed to keep their culture, their language, their music, even their religion, their spirituality, whether it's Muslim, Christian, or Hinduism. So it is a different type of situation to the enslaved African. Again, we'll get to that for Emancipation Day. And they worked on the fields after emancipation had ended, and the African enslaved persons were freed, refused to work on the plantation for free. Hence the reason the indentured laborers came. They came also from China and Syria, but the ones that the British really would have bringing in the thousands to Trinidad were the persons of Indian descent, most of them from Bihar or Uttar Pradesh. And those they would have wanted to come here for like seeking better working conditions, better living, a better life than they were experiencing in India, one of famine, the caste system, and all that. So again, I just went over that briefly because I've spoken about it during the week already. Happy Indian Arrival Day again to the Indian community, whether Muslim, Christian, or Hindus. You all have done well, but always remember, some may not like to hear, but you all got a hand up. As small as the hand up was, it was a hand up. And we are not discounting the hardships that your great ancestors who came here would have gone through. We are not discounting that. However, as the late Binzi Samuel said, it cannot be equated to what the enslaved Africans went through during slavery or enslavement. And nor is it the same circumstances in which both parties came here. Conditions totally different. So it's important. And then one other thing, the conversation that some people of Indian descent today tell people of African descent that we were too lazy. That is why the indentured laborers came here, because we refused to work. We didn't refuse to work because we were lazy. Again, I want to put that there. We refused to work because after 400 years of enslavement, those who enslaved us said that they're going to set us free. And Dr. Eric Eustace Williams would have written Capitalism and Slavery, which his thought is that we weren't freed by the enslavers, the British, the colonial masters, because they loved us. We were freed because of economics. It was not, sugar was no longer making the kind of profits that it was making for them, that off of the backs of our ancestors, they would have built America, England. They would have been able to invest in and do inventions and stuff. So the steam came along, steam engine, all that, and then they had beet, they had honey. So they started to look at new and cheaper sources of sugar. So because sugar was not selling as it should or was selling before in England on the market, they weren't making money. And then because we were freed from enslavement, they still wanted us to remain and work for free. And our African enslaved ancestors refused to do that. And that left a void, saying they couldn't force us to come back on the lands because we were freed. we were emancipated, they had to look for a different source of labor because while sugar was not as king as it was before, it was still a product selling. Yes, so I just wanted to clear that here. We never refused to work on the sugar estates because we were lazy. We refused to work after our enslaved Africans were freed, and then they still wanted us to continue working for free as we did for 400 years. So I wanted to put that there. And again, to the Indian community, happy Indian Arrival Day. So let's listen to what makes Trinidad and Tobago a great place. And as I said again, Trinidad and Tobago is really a blessed and beautiful place. It's where all cultures, all different spiritualities, religious affiliations, political affiliation, ethnic groups, we are all a melting pot. And yes, we do have our challenges because human beings at the end of the day. But by and large, island like ours, a Trinidad Island state like ours, is really a model to the world. Those who live here and have been living here all their life never traveled to them is nothing. But if you have traveled the world, you would realize how blessed Trinidad and Tobago is. There's just a few who, for their own selfish reasons, again, that's human nature, they try to do things that are not in conformity of peace, justice, equality. But we have people who would stand and let their voices be heard respectfully, forcefully, but respectfully, not physically. And we will continue to speak out. I'm not speaking about me alone necessarily, but there are people who would have stood up before me and will stand up after me and will always stand for what is right. So I solemnly pledge to dedicate my life to the service of my God and my country. I'll honor my parents, my teachers, my leaders, my elders, and those in authority. I'll be clean and honest in all my thoughts, my words, and my deeds. And I'll strive in everything I do to work together with my fellow men of every creed and race for the greater happiness of all and the honor and glory of my country. And I do love my country. I do love my brothers and sisters of all races. Because at the end of the day, as they say, love makes the world go wrong, but not only that. Coming from a place where I love myself, it is very easy for me to love somebody of another race without any problems. And I'll continue to say, I look at face, not race. However, if you treat me with a certain disrespect and what I would disrespect you back. That is just my philosophy of things. Whether you're African, you're Chinese, and whatever ethnic group you're from, if you treat me in a particular way that is offensive to me, whatever, I believe in do so like so. I also believe that not because somebody is of your ethnic group that they are part of your tribe. And when I say that, I mean you may meet somebody of Indian descent, you're African descent, and both of you, all your values, your ethics, your ideas of what is right and wrong, you all believe in that same thing. And I'm speaking on the good side of it. There's the negative side also. I'm speaking about the positive side of it. And it doesn't matter what race the person is from. To me, they become part of your tribe. Not ethnic group, but tribe. And it's the same way your tribe could be doing something negative and it could be made up of people of different ethnic group, from different socio-economic backgrounds, from different religious background, from different professionals and all that. People tend to gravitate to each other. That is what they say, birds of a feather flock together. Birds of a feather flock together is not only for negative things. Bird of a feather flock together could also be for the positive part and side of things. So those who flock with me are part of my tribe, are not necessarily part of my ethnic group. But that doesn't take away from the pride and love and strength and passion that I feel for my ethnic group. We are, as people of African descent, and everything Africa with regards to our heritage, culture, tradition. Yeah. So, so Constance telling me there is good to make that differentiation, and I'll just say it one more time because we continue to hear it over and over again. That the reason why indentured laborers from India came to Trinidad is because the Africans were lazy, or the ends were lazy and didn't want to work. The didn't want to work has to be put into context. And the context in which we did not want to work was simply because after 400 years of enslavement, not 150 years or 175 years, 400 years of enslavement, having been taken from our homeland, not because we wanted to or we were seeking a better life. We were taken, we were kidnapped, we were raped, we were mutilated, we were humiliated. I heard some young DJs today speaking about the journey that the indentured laborers made on the Fasa Razak. While I appreciate the fact that it would have been horrible, horrific, you packed together, people were sick. I could imagine the vomiting and all that, and persons would have died. And yes, it was long, you were frightened, all that. I want them, when emancipation comes, I want them to tell us also about the journey that their African ancestors, my African ancestors, made during the Middle Passage, where we were chained together. Indentured laborers weren't chained together. They weren't considered property. They weren't considered less than animals. They were considered bonded workers, contract workers. Yeah. But our African ancestors, I want those DJs, when emancipation comes, to tell the persons, the people who listen to them, the journey that the enslaved Africans made from Africa to the Middle Passage, coming from Nigeria and Ghana. And that there is no comparison again to what happened on the Fazal Razak 1845 and until about 1970. We were chained together, worse than animals, made to lie next to each other, and rows and rows and rows and rows of people of African descent. Your ancestors, my ancestors, even some people of Indian descent who celebrating indenture, who celebrating Indian Arrival Day today, their ancestors also. We weren't given nothing to eat and drink and all that. We weren't allowed to go up on deck to exercise and smell the fresh air. We were left there to urinate on ourselves, defecate on ourselves, die next to each other, rot next to each other. Disease was rampant in that space. It's only when the colonial masters, the English, who refused to this day, the English government, to apologize and give us reparation. Because we built Africa, we built England, we built Europe. It's only when they were losing their property, because we were dying like flies. A doctor came and said, let them come up on board and take a 2-minute jig for the sun and then back down again and change. And a lot of our ancestors refused to continue to be humiliated, insult, rape, murdered, choose to jump overboard and pull everybody with them. That is our history. So when I heard the young DJs this morning, I was happy that they know about the journey of people of Indian descent to Trinidad. I was happy. But I hope when they speak for African emancipation, that they tell the story of that journey. It wasn't one ship, it was several ships. We didn't run to come here. As I said, we were raped, we were beaten, we were sold into chattel slavery. Pregnant women to send a message to others with tight spread eagle on the ground to horses, and horses hit to run in separate direction and split. That woman open and the child spread out there and died. They took men in Jamaica and to make the woman understand that the man can't save you, you know. Always we property, you know. They rape the men, strong men, in front of the woman. So the woman realized there's nobody to save them and help them. All man for themselves. And all I want to understand why we have so much backbiting and fighting within the African community. There are some descendants of those enslaved Africans continue. Hey, let me talk the thing. I didn't mean to go there, but if it leaded me there. Yeah, to sell out. It has some standing up and fighting to this day. If you come from a lineage of African people who will stand and fight for your rights, you come from that. There are some, because they're weaker in mind, would have succumbed. That is how it was. It was dog eat, no contract. No taking a year to give you a nice thing to eat so you could build up your body to work. They just want treat like we're animals. And even worse than animals, and work we. And one there, 2 there, 3 there, just put some more in place. So when our dear Indian brothers and sisters, when they celebrate Indian Arrival Day, remember, if the Africans who came here as enslaved Africans didn't clear the lands, didn't cut the forests, didn't dead from snake bite, centipede bite, whip on our back and then salt thrown it, laws put in place to beat our African women, our ancestors, when they came, they would have met forests to cut and all. They met sugar cane to reap. They had to be taught to do the job because we have been doing it for years. And they continue to plan. So do not discount. Do not ever discount the African enslaved persons, our ancestors, sometimes some are all your own ancestors. What we contributed, not only to the West Indies, but to America, to Europe. Our contribution is what built the world. And we got nothing for it. So when you watch an African man sometimes, it's not an excuse. That is reality. And they're finding it hard to do something. You think a psychological blow has been dealt to us? And we never get counseling for it to this day. It has psychologist thing happen to you when you was 5 years old, he is 20 years old, and if even a particular way, they tell us childhood trauma. So do you think African slaves born into enslavement 400 years, for a generation, that it didn't have an impact on the mind and the psyche. And then you separate, even in those harsh, barbaric conditions, you have house slaves and you have field slaves. And some house slaves felt they saw better than the field slave, because the field slaves out there working in gangs. Yeah, they were gangs. The term, the word gangs, they're working for free, working hard. A slave master beating you, and they say you're working in gangs. And those who are inside by massa, wearing massa clothes, and when master don't eat, scrape the food and eat off the ground and pat you, good dog, good boy, good dog, feel that somehow that made you better. So when we're in this field, trying to run, to get away, plan, we escape. And we come here and we cane rows as a map to show which path to run and where not to run. And we stick the seeds inside the plats, so that when we get out and run on our journey, we could sit down and eat the seeds and nourish our body, so that we don't die of starvation. So when you see the cane row and the buntu and the corkscrew, understand the history in that. And before I continue with what I have today, because I get pulled in another direction. When the Ashanti king came here, because when we tell them we come from kings and queens, they laugh. They laugh. And so in Africa, all the bellies full of big woman breasts outside, and when they would go with spear and going hoo, and who them lungo and all this, they were laughing. When we say we came from kings and queens and kingdoms. And when the Ashanti came here about 3 years ago for the emancipation celebration, they were in awe. He came with his own private jet. And he had gold on him more than Mirage jewelers have. And he had the maid dancing in front and the carpet down and the men servant, whatever they call them. And he's walking there and they have on the kente cloth wrap around them. What are we on? Turn and ask, what way that dress them have on? Not even understanding that the kente cloth inside of it used to put messages. We used to send messages certain way they put the print on the kente cloth. Send messages, you can read from it. You know who made the cloth, where it going, you know the directions, mathematics, everything was in the kente. So don't think the kente cloth is just piece of cloth wrap so and wrap so. Don't even understanding the history, and that comes down from enslavement. Because we came here, they take we language, they take we food, they take we heritage, they take we culture, they take every single thing from us language, and then give us Christianity, something we didn't even understand. So sometimes we in Christianity and things ain't going good because that is not of us. But the Baptists make it work, the Orishas make it work, because they were able to mix the two and hide under it and that. And then because some of the Catholic deities, they fashion it to the Orishas and all. We are very resilient and creative people. And the United Nations has understood that we need to get our just through our African people. They have extended another 10 years to the peoples of African descent. Well, they come with me on this journey, you know. I'm just talking for African people alone too, you know, because I say again, every other race has some lineage of Africa in them, because the slave master and them used to rape we. So some of them born with blue eyes and green eyes and long straight hair. And when they check the DNA, the great-great-grandmommy was a black woman from Africa and enslaved from Africa. We were the first. So, people, sorry that I went there, but just that question, that thing that constantly remind me about we being lazy. We being African people being lazy. If African people was lazy, if African people didn't like to work, England could have never be developed as England is. America could have never be developed as America is. Europe could have never be developed like Europe is. The Caribbean could have never be developed as it is because of the sweat, the tears, and the murder of all your ancestors, my ancestors, that the world economy is built on. But yet they watch us with scorn. Because you know, some of us, it is so sad. We refuse to love ourselves because we buy into the foolishness that we is nothing. That we black, we ugly, we hair picky. So you come in a little child, but oh God, your hair too hard, and dragging the child, she bawling, and calling them late for school children. All in all, beautifully African people here, that curl is an energy. That curl and hold and just spring back, so it's an energy. You just feel the vibes, you feel it. Take off all your shoes and go and stand on the, don't stand on concrete. Take off all your shoes and find a piece of dirt in your yard or area and stand on that barefooted. Close your hand, feel the energy and the vibes. Or you cut off all yourself from everything. And keep the negative. Hard for school. Head hard for school. Look how hard it is. You're duncy head. Hard head. Duncy head. Hard head. Duncy head. You're ugly. Duncy head. Your nose too wide. Duncy head. Your nose too flat. Your face too flat. Your face too big. And only tell all the children that the child come home. Mommy, look at draw this and thing. It's a little child. Let's throw it all outside. Instead of a ball, okay, listen. You will get better next time inside. But this stupidness. All you know what they do to a child, or the child come up excited to tell mommy something. You because you're up in your feeling. Nah, me have no time now. Instead of just telling the child, listen, give mommy a few minutes to think and mommy. All these things, negative things, and you want to know why we African children. That's being a state that they in. How much children just follow a trend? Hug them and say, mommy love you. Daddy love you. When they're sleeping, go and give them a kiss, say a little prayer. Let them know they're beautiful, they're handsome, they're worth something. How much children just do that? Instead of they take out all the frustration and they're trying to understand. And when they grow up now frustrated and confused and doing all the wrong thing, all they say, look. They learn it somewhere. Start to love all yourself. Start to love all the children and learn the word something. Your hair is beautiful. Your color is beautiful. You could be black like you're blue. You're beautiful. Because you're one of God's children. You're made in His image and likeness. So if you're black like you're blue and your hair is short, what they want to call picky and all that, and they tell you the same Christianity they tell we are. That God make we in His own image and likeness. In His own image and likeness. You think He make anything ugly? So if you're telling me we ugly, then you're telling me the God we serve ugly? Come now, man. Or they get all themselves in order, you know. Get all yourself in order, you know, and stop falling for the false narrative that they feed in we, you know. Start to watch yourself in the mirror, watch your lump, your bump, everything, and say, I am beautiful. If nobody love me, I love me. Don't want no man to validate you to love you, or no woman to validate you to love you, to say that you're nice, and that you're beautiful, and that you're bright. Own it. Because anytime you look externally for those type of validation, and you don't get it, you remain in a state of mental stress, and you try everything to try to come to the whatever you think that somebody will like. You have to pick you. Again, me train this talk at nobody, I just talking. You have to picky, long weave. You ain't looking to makeup. Again, this is general. I'm talking about nobody. I'm not saying everybody with their weave and their makeup and things, people don't love themselves. I'm not saying that because, you know, they just get things twisted. Yeah? I'm just saying, if you're doing those things, I hope you love yourself. So all them pretty girls that I see with the tattoo, the piercing, the long nails, the eyelash, the weave, everything, I hope all they're doing it because it's all they self, all they love, and all they trying to look like the Joneses, and all they trying to get a man to validate all they trying to get somebody to say you're pretty or that you feel pretty yourself. I hope you're doing it because you love yourself and you can do what the hell you want. Yeah? Let me move on. This turned out to be different than I thought it would today. So, oh God. Whew. Oh God. So I'm seeing here. I want to say shout out to all the persons I would have met yesterday in Port of Spain. I can't remember people's names. I met two persons in Excellent Mall. It is still called that. I was sitting having something to eat. And then while I was walking past, I saw a gentleman. He called out to me. Excuse me, I don't want to say shout out to them. Thank you all for supporting and all those who continue to support Let Me Talk the Thing. Yeah, you all make it worthwhile. So I'm seeing here Trinidad Express, Kwame Lawrence story. Jareem, the Dream Richards, is given the glory to God for his superb performances this year. He said, I've been praying a lot. The Trinidad and Tobago track star told Express, my family has been praying a lot for me. I trust in God and I rely on Him throughout my career. And after last year's performance, it gives me that fuel in the fire to just go forward and try to be the best I can be in 2025. At the 2024 Olympic Games in Paris, France, Richards finished fourth in the 400-meter final in a jaw-dropping national record run of 43.70 seconds. The .14 sprinter opened his 2025 outdoor campaign at the Grand Slam track meet in Kingston, Jamaica in early April. He finished seventh in the men long sprint 400 in 45.35 seconds and second in the 200 in 20.81. Richards followed up a few weeks later with a 10.16 100-meter personal best at a meet in Florida, USA. Richard was back on the track on the first weekend in May, competing in the second Grand Slam track meet in Florida. The 31-year-old athlete won the 200 in a then world record or world leading 18.86 seconds, and in the 400 he finished second in 44.32 to secure the US 100,000 jackpot as the men long sprint champion. So nice kudos there to the Dream. And I also want to congratulate the men's football team, or Soca Warriors. They did not win the game against, I think it's Jamaica. It was 3-2. However, I know that they would do and continue to improve and do better. The coach is our own Dwight York, who is a national hero where football is concerned. His tenure at Manchester United and those other clubs, and then he was doing some coaching before. So I know they will do good. They will eventually gel even more, and we wish them all the best. I also see that Joshua Rogello, who would have played the steel pan for 30, just a minute. I think it's 31 hours continuously. It says here, this was 5 hours ago, beloved panelist Joshua Rogello is confirming that Guinness World Records has approved his record-setting feat. Guinness recognized Rogello's achievement of playing the steel pan continuously for 31 hours on its website on Wednesday. So congratulations there to our own Joshua Rogello on his feat. FEAT, not FEET. While he was on the FEET, he was able to complete his FEAT, and the only person in the world to have played the steel pan continuously for 31 years. So he would be added to the Guinness Book of World Records. So that is something to be celebrated. I'm also seeing just a minute. Just a minute. Something here in the news. TCCN, TV6. Give me a minute. Give me a minute. Okay, so, all right. So I'm seeing that this was in, this is TV6 TNT.com 13 hours ago. I feel to listen to that.
Regarding stand your ground legislation and legal firearms, we have been looking at models across the world, and in particular, right next door to us in Florida, is a model that we can adopt here, and we have the committee that has been put in place to help us come up with the legislative provisions for putting stand your ground legislation. The other one is with legal firearms. I see some people are saying we should not go that route of giving people who apply legal firearms. We campaigned on that. We got a special majority vote. That was one of the things we promised the electorate, and we will deliver. We will deliver. For those of you who are against that, to give legal firearms to law-abiding citizens, of course, with the checks and the balances, the answer is simple: do not apply. If you're against getting a firearm or giving a firearm, you have the option. It is your choice. Do not apply. But we will proceed with stand your ground legislation. We will proceed with giving legal firearms in, as I say, within a framework, because those are matters we promised the electorate. And those were some of the policy positions we took, which gave us the special majority in the parliament. As I say, everyone has an opinion. I again remind everyone, this is still a democracy, and as long as I'm here, it will remain a democracy. So everyone is entitled to voice their opinion in favor or not in favor. That is their democratic right. Today, I'm voicing mine. Many victims of home invasion have written to me about their experiences. Most victims want to defend their families, but did not have the equal means to do so. In the first place, no one should be invading your home. The government, the judiciary, and police will ensure to work to put an end to home invasions. It is our duty.
Right? So, excuse me. The Prime Minister is determined, because she would have made that as he load up the Matic, knock it crooked, while Trinidad music playing.
For the last number of years.
Right? I really want to hear it, right? So they are determined to, because they are a populist party, so anything to please the people. And also, she has placed the Defense Minister Wayne Surge as a minister in the Ministry of Homeland Security. So Minister Wayne Surge is now the Minister of Defense and also a minister in the Ministry of Homeland Security. So Minister Roger Alexander now has, I don't know who has to answer to who, but we'll see how that goes. And again, I would have preferred, because as the Prime Minister rightly said, this is a democracy and everybody is entitled to their opinion. And I'm giving my opinion also. I would have liked to see, or would have liked to have seen, the opposition leader, the Honorable Penelope Beckers-Robinson, have conversations to her constituents, party groups, as she's presently going around, not just focus on internal elections, but use that forum also to speak to them about the positive of Stand Your Ground and the negative of Stand Your Ground. And look at Florida, that this government is keen on fashioning the stand your ground laws on and inform people, because people have the opinion that once they get a firearm and they're at home or something and somebody breaks into the home, they could just simply shoot them and then say, stand your ground, and that they were scared, and that's the end of the matter. I do not think they fully grasp that you still have to go to court. So you can't just go around shooting people and say, I feel threatened because they watched me so, and because that's what people are thinking. I could feel frightened. I could see fire and stand up and then get scared, and somebody see it and they panic, and everybody react to things differently. So you might feel threatened by X, A, B, C, D, and somebody else don't. So that's the standard, because in the stand your ground laws, there's no legal obligation to de-escalate a situation. You could just shoot the person. Violence for violence, whether or not you could have get away, whether or not you could have find a safe space, you don't have to do nothing. You just have to feel threatened. You just have to feel as though somebody is going to do you something and you could shoot them. And then you just say, I was feeling scared, I was frightened, they're breaking my house, whatever it is, and because of that, everything will be okay. So I think that the opposition leader should have taken time also to speak and inform persons exactly what is it. So by the time they start to debate it in Parliament, people would be tuning to listen, to see what's happening, and be able to voice their concerns, or whether or not they want to send letters, or whatever the case may be, because they are more informed of this stand your ground laws. In the absence of that, it is what it is. They continue to chastise me because of the fact of the things I'm speaking, but we'll get to that. So I'm seeing here also that the government intends to move the Port of Spain jail from where it is. Just a minute. They're going to move. Just a minute. They're going to move it. They will. Okay, just a minute. I had it here just now. No, please. With this thing. Oh, and in that same story where the Prime Minister was speaking, he says, do not back down, show absolutely no mercy, and attack with full force. That was emphatic advice from Prime Minister Kamala Persad-Bissessar yesterday, as she reiterated her government push for standing ground laws, right? So you hear her tone, which is very excessive and very inciting, because do not back down, show absolutely no mercy, and attack with full force has to be in context. It can't be just put out there like that. So that is why I'm saying that the opposition leader should have been there saying something. I don't get it that you're waiting until local government election, internal election. I just saying I hope that is not what it is about, and then anyhow, but she's a nice lady. So I see this in the Guardian. Government aims to remove prison from Port of Spain. All men seen as throwing illegal items into facility. So if it moved from Port of Spain, that will stop men from throwing illegal items over the wall. Is that the government is considering the removal of Port of Spain prison from the capital. Minister of Homeland Security Roger Alexander confirmed this yesterday afternoon at a post-cabinet media briefing at the Red House, Port of Spain. His comments followed renewed calls for the prison's removal by the Prison Officers Association after a video surfaced showing a man throwing what appeared to be contraband over the wall yesterday. Calling the situation very serious, Alexander said, I always said this before. Port of Spain is our city. We are we really are not supposed to have a jail in the city, and where it is located, a lot of schools are around. All of these things. So it's something we need to take into consideration, and we need to look at it in a positive way to remove that eyesore from the heart of the city. Early yesterday, the association president, Gerard Gordon, said having a prison like that in the center of the city, the jail is in the center of the city. That is not quite up Frederick Street, up by New Street of it. Up New Street of there is the center. Okay, well, probably, I don't know. I'm not into geography and stuff, so I might be off. So having a prison like that in the center of the city, notwithstanding the fact that the city actually built up around the prison subsequently, it is not doing justice or serving the best interests of citizens of Trinidad and Tobago, and certainly not the people who traverse Port of Spain on a daily basis. We, we just simply have to go back to the 2015 jailbreak, and you can see almost immediately the deleterious effects of that. When things happen or go wrong with a prison, it is felt instantaneously by the public. It is our belief that we need to reduce that population further at the Port of Spain prison, and that we need to eventually look at completely shutting down that facility. Responding to this call, Commissioner of Prisons Carlos Carraspi said he remains duty-bound to follow the directives of the state. Acting Commissioner of Police Junior Benjamin declined to offer an opinion, but called for discussions among all relevant state agencies to assess whether the prison's current location and condition can withstand break-in or break-out attempts. Meanwhile, police officers are searching for the man caught on video tossing two black bags over the wall of the prison located on Frederick Street before running away yesterday. The illegal act was done in full view of motorists and passers. Acting Commissioner of Police Benjamin said the suspect is a repeat offender who previously served time for the same offense. We have to put all our officers on alert to look for this gentleman, and certainly we are going to be bringing him to justice. My understanding is that he's an individual on bail, he said. Addressing. So if he's a repeat offender and they keep putting him on bail, whose fault? Why he keep getting bail? I'm just asking. Again, I'm not a judge, justice of the peace, lawyer, nothing. I'm just asking. Addressing the wider use of contraband being thrown into the prison, Benjamin said, it's happening a lot too often, and therefore there's a need for us to really do something more to avoid these adverse situations. Also, we are going to be eyeing, or also we'll be going to be seeing how we could probably up our security around the prisons. But again, we are going to seek to monitor this situation so that at least we can get a greater grip on that. So can have, that's how we have it, so can have some deterrence to people who are interested in continuing the practice. Right, so. And then they speak about in 2015 inmates Alan Scani Martin, Hassan Atwell, and Christopher Munster Selby escaped in broad daylight from the prison, armed with firearms. They shot their way out, killing Constable Sherman Maynard during the break. The escape triggered a nationwide manhunt. Officers killed Martin in a shootout later that day. Atwell was found dead in East Port of Spain the following day. Selby surrendered 2 days later. So we will see how that goes. I'm also seeing Just now. It is so CNC3 News, CNC3. Hi Alana, hi Fitzgerald, Jackie, Rosemary, Hadara. Forgive me for not looking down and calling out names. I just let me see. Let me see what I have here. Right. I'm seeing in CNC3, the Guardian. It looks like this stupid policeman used standing ground to pump bullets on elderly man suffering from Alzheimer's. Ooh. Already the police are lying to go. Oh Lord. 19 hours ago, Guardian. Government to meet with Chief Justice as calls grow for virtual courts to be removed from police stations. Justice Minister Devnish Maharaj says government will be meeting with Chief Justice Ivachi soon in the hope of understanding the state of courts around the country and other related issues. Um, the announcement came hours after Criminal Bar Association President Israel Khan, SC, yesterday called on the Chief Justice to explain why virtual courts are still operating out of police stations. Khan raised the issue after Homeland Secretary Minister Roger Alexander called on the judiciary to vacate police stations. All the magistrates' courts are closed. That's the more important thing. You know, why is it that magistrates' courts are closed down? What's happening to the billions of dollars that government is giving to the judiciary? I think the Chief Justice needs to give an explanation. COVID-19 is no longer here. Why is he using a police station as a court, as a courthouse, Khan said. Alexander had previously said that under the separation of powers philosophy, the judiciary should operate in its own space away from the police. Who does take cases to court? Not the police. Speaking after the matter was raised again at a post-cabinet media briefing yesterday, Alexander said courts use critical rooms at police stations, such as interview rooms and identification rooms. He said the Minister of Justice, Maharaj, is assisting in addressing the issue. Maharaj said the judiciary gave an interim report on the status of court repair and construction, with all being scheduled. He said a meeting with the Chief Justice was crucial and it will be on the cards very soon to be addressed. Meanwhile, Police Social and Welfare Association President ASP Gideon Dixon said the association have been trying for the past 2 years to regain control of the police station and have courts return to the designated judicial building. He said there is no longer a need for virtual courts to operate out of police stations, and apart from the security risk of having witnesses and accused commingling in police station, there is also the financial burden of maintaining the space allotted to the court. We ought to not be the person who are enforcing the law and then have to manage that particular space. Upkeep the particular space as it relates to its readiness to provide justice to the persons, whether the person is an offender or whether the person is a witness, whether the person is to be a prosecutor in the matter. Peeps, here I was saying, I don't know the fullness of this, but I will say something. Two things. If it's an issue to have it in the police station, well, they would know better than me. I'm not a policeman or a woman. However, to speak about the fact that COVID-19 has long gone, because those are the reasons a lot of work from home and virtual courts and things came out of that. So if the argument is this, that is not just simply that having virtual court in the police station presents some type of risk or present a situation where the police do not have those rooms anymore and it's creating problems for the police within the police station. I hear that. But to speak about virtual court and COVID-19 over as if go back to going to court in the physical building again. Well, then here what I will say. Why is the Prime Minister, the Honorable Prime Minister, not in Whitehall, coming to office every day? Why it is she has to work from home in a space convenient to her and probably virtually at that? Why it is we continue to speak about flexi time and a new way to do business, and that you don't have to do everything in person, we digitizing. So we talking one thing and we're taking a step backwards. Because to mention why they still having virtual court, if you're just speaking about for the police station alone, I could understand that because the challenge. But virtual court, what is the issue with virtual courts? That they have to go back to just simply using a physical space. Do we want to go forward or do we want to stay halfway and we have pregnant? One for the one thing and we are sure. We need to make up our minds where we want this society to go. And sometimes to get comfortable, you need to get uncomfortable again. I don't work in the police stations. I'm not a police officer or anything. So they will know better than me what virtual courts in the police station, what challenges they are having with that. But I'm speaking about the conversation about without COVID-19 again, because I'll tell you what, Public Services Association hasn't had a meeting of the General Council inside the building. That Ms. Baptiste Primus and the members back in the day, they would have worked hard to build that building, not build the building, but to buy that building, this PSA building, and continue to have virtual court when the virtual meetings, when they want, how they want, if they want. You don't know who in the meeting, who they throw off, who they throw, when we could be congregating there. So then here what? All the talk to PSA head, the Duns Guild, who talking about giving the UNC government only a month and about 2 days, a gold star for what? Go talk to that Duns and tell she COVID-19 over, and that the General Council, the financial body of the union, should be meeting inside the union on Abercrombie Street. Let me stop all virtual things. But to the Duns, that Duns Guild, the Duns Guild who is the president of PSA, what are giving the UNC a gold star for? Because I want to tell public officers, all their mouth get tied up all of a sudden, all they have nothing to say, nothing. When this guild and the Minister of Labour was going around and telling all them, vote UNC, because UNC will get 10%. They start a negotiation 10%. Some people in here start a negotiation and they get 10%. And some people fall for it. People who verse in industrial relations and economics know that is stupid talk. Because no employer is going to commit themselves to start no negotiation at 10%. Not so high. And then the next 3 years, you don't know the economy, the country, nothing at all, and you still starting at 10%. It's not realistic. And then because the way that we negotiate for wages for public officers is based on the retail price index methodology, meaning you look at how inflation eats up the worker's salary for the month, 12 months, and the next 3 years. So 1 year, inflation may eat up your salary by 5%. The next year, because 3 years is the negotiating period, the next year, the inflation may eat up your salary by 7%. And the next year, it could be less or it could be more. And what they do, they look at the figure overall, the 5 and the 7 and the whatever it is, and they come up with a percentage in which they feel will reimburse the public officer or the worker that they're negotiating for that money that they would have lost. That is it. So that is why negotiations are better served to be finished in the 3rd year of the negotiating period. Because what that does, it gives you money in real time. But PSA allowed the negotiation to go 6 years without it being settled. When Watson Group was offered a settlement for the period 2014, 15, and 16 by the Minister of Finance, he came and told us in 2019 the Minister of Finance offered him a percentage. We heard it was 9%. And Watson Solomon Juku today, the Prime Minister came up and said, to embarrass his ass to say, you're asking for work. He said he not opening the envelope, he will open it 2020. And we in 2025, and we never knew what happened. But all little blame Batiste, and all it, because Batiste was the consultant all them time getting $16,000 while he was still a manager at WASA. All little blame Watson Group for the position public officers in, because we could have gotten our negotiations settled for the period 14, 15, and 16 long time. Everything all us show on our government. But you know now, this government is saying, we're going to look into it. There's no hustle again to treat with negotiation, because what was the need? Where's the need? All Felicia and I'm happy about that WASA, no restructuring again in WASA. And the dance don't understand that money was borrowed from the IDB. And that money was borrowed not to pay salaries and wages. It was to restructure WASA. And if now we're not restructuring WASA and keeping all workers in WASA, all the thing the bank will sit down quiet because the bank wants back the money. We lend you to restructure so you become more modernized, make money to service your debt, pay back with money. But if you take that money and you're paying it in salaries and wages, you ain't making money. How the people going to get back their money? I paint it in simple words. So the jackass girl, the dunce girl, who given a gold star because she feel that they stop the restructuring of WASA and not understanding that I tell her she dance. She don't understand anything at any level, at any deep level. Everything is on the surface. Don't understand the ramification of tearing up the restructuring of WASA and done with that it will have. Right now, I see it have WASA workers who fearful for the job. Why they fearful, Felicia Thomas? If Ola was able to stop the restructuring of WASA, why WASA workers are fearful they will lose the work? Why does WASA put out a notice, or I hope they got the salary? Why does WASA put out a notice that there is some error when they send the pay sheet for monthly paid workers to the bank, their bank, that there's some error on the accounting sheet. So people didn't get the money, and I hope they get it now. I'm also seeing another group of workers who didn't get their salary yet. And I say, and I will say again, and I'm giving an opinion because I'm not an economist, this government can find it challenging to pay salaries when the money comes. Hear what I'm saying? This government will find it very challenging to find money to pay that recurring expenditure every month. And why I'm saying that? Every avenue and tax that they could have collected in order to help pay those recurring expenditure, they abandoned those things. So where the money coming from? So let me see how that goes. And while they're doing that, while she's patting the United National Congress, that is the Duns from Abercrombie Street, giving them a gold star, this is what is happening. Let me get it for you. This was 12 hours ago. Trinidad Express. Minister of Planning, Economic Affairs, Development, and Minister in the Ministry of Finance, Kennedy Sarat Singh, says he is hoping to secure between US 2 billion to US 5 billion in funding over the next 3 to 5 years to support private sector-led diversification initiatives. Sarat Singh comments follows recent discussion with representatives from the World Bank and the International American Bank, the IDB. Speaking to the media at Trinidad and Tobago's Chamber of Industry and Commerce, business-to-business matchmaking and networking cocktail at the Forge San Juan on Wednesday, Sarat Singh said, "My hope and expectation is that between the World Bank and IDB and other IFCs as international financial centers, they invest in the private sector. We want to look for funding for between US 2 to US 5 billion over the next 3 to 5 years. But the IDB gave you all money. Well, not you all, the previous government money to restructure WASA. And that was happening, and you will stop the restructuring. So you think the IDB or any other lending agency is going to invest in the private sector. And when they give you all money to invest in the private sector, that will they take it and do something different. He added that what we are targeting and trying to boost towards, but again, this is dependent on the responses as well. Sarat Singh said earlier that same-day discussions were held with the World Bank, which has been seeking to engage with various ministries for several months. Excuse me. The World Bank has been here since Monday. They met with 6 ministries together with the chambers, the Trinidad and Tobago Manufacturers Association. The meeting was amazing. They have been trying to come down to engage with us for probably the last couple of months. So we are really happy to have them engage with us through the IFC. He noted that the World Bank visit as a unified delegation comprising agencies such as the Multilateral Investment Guarantee Agency and the IFC and the World Bank Group. He described the discussions as insightful, offering technical cooperation and expressing a willingness to support private sector development. We must be the only country happy for the World Bank to come. There's a reason why they come in my opinion, and they won't get in through because the previous government said they were not going to borrow money from the World Bank. The World Bank, think IMF. They won't say IMF. They say World Bank. The previous government were making sure they keep us out of the hands of the IMF by doing their own, want of a better word, rigidities in how they manage the economy so that we don't get out of hand. What we have, we use it to the maximum while still maintaining a level of independence from those lending agencies. But Income Tanku, I don't know his qualifications, and I see something to write up all that, who is coming into a space where there was a competent. So what all they want about but we're talking finance here, has been able to do. People say, oh, he's an architect and he in economy, but you know what, probably working with numbers in terms of cutting and that, because architects have to work with numbers and cut here and fractions and this and fit this here and fit. Probably that is what may have helped, I don't know. But has been able to architect our economy in such a way that we have been spared the rigors of structural adjustments. I don't know if Tanku and this government and Sawat Singh, who is excited, I don't know if he's excited by the money. I don't know if he's excited by the thought of the money, but excited at the World Bank and they are here to talk to us. I don't get it. I don't know what the excitement and the amazement is about. The World Bank has been here, right? He noted that the World Bank visited as a unified delegation comprising agencies such as Multilateral Investment Guarantee Agency and this, all that, explaining why private sector funding is crucial. So Singh said, traditionally, much of our funding through international agencies was geared towards government programs, budget support, investment projects, and so on. So we are trying to do a shift. A lot of that funding, for example, the IFC fund, probably about US 60 billion globally in private projects. So we are shifting that and putting the weight on that towards the private sector so they can have access to international agency level funding. Isn't that happening? Somebody could tell me, please. Doesn't the manufacturing sector and those other sectors, do they not have access to loans? Look out here. I'm not reading no more. I'm reading no more. Just like the stand your ground laws, they ain't telling people proper about it. The opposition leader is saying nothing. They're making people feel it's just simple, borrow money from all these agencies, you get the money, and then after you get the money, pay to investment, and investment fail, you still have to put back the money. Yeah? So if you put it into public sector investment and whatever investment or whatever it is, and it fails, they make the money, you still have to pay back the money. Yeah? So listen to the World Bank. We tell all you who all you want to answer the phone. April the 29th. Kamala Prasad Sessa or Stuart Richard Young SC. And I will come to that. It had people was going around and telling people, don't vote for the PNM because Stuart Young is a 1%. The PNM is an African party. And that is nothing. If the PNM lost the election, we go build it back. Ask people if they didn't hear that talk. They had voters confused. Instead of saying, support Prime Minister Stuart Young, make sure we get a special majority in the parliament so that when they go in there to do the works, all the opposition and roadblocks used to be put up by the then UNC. They will be able to do the laws and whatever in a proper way without all that. No. Because all the selfishness, all the wickedness, all the evilness, all the greed, all they prefer to see the PNM come to nothing. And all they so lofty in all their ideas, all they could build back what? What's so special about all that all they could bring back and build back? All they not of the ilk of 33-3 and the PNM back then. The World Bank is an international development organization owned by 187 countries. Its role is to reduce poverty by lending money to the government for its poorer members or of its poorer members to improve their economies and to improve the standard of living of their people. The bank is also one of the world's largest research centers in development. It has specialized departments that use this knowledge to advise countries in areas like health, education, nutrition, finance, justice, law, and environment. Another part of the bank, the World Bank Institute, offers training to government and other officials in the world through local research and teaching institutions. The bank was established in 1944 to help rebuild Europe and Japan after World War II. This official name was the International Bank of Reconstruction and Development. When it first began operation in 1946, it had 38 members. Today, most of the countries in the world are members. Without a place like the World Bank from which to borrow money, the world's poorest countries would have few, if any, ways to finance much needed development projects. The projects are essential to helping people become educated, live healthy lives, get jobs, and contribute as active citizens. The World Bank has created new organizations within itself that specialize in different activities. All of these organizations together are called the World Bank Group. It consists of IBRD, it lends to low and middle income countries, that is the International Development Association IDA, it lends to low income countries. International Finance Corporation, IFC, lends to private sector. Multilateral Investment Guarantee Agencies, MIGA, encourage private companies to invest in foreign countries. International Center of Settlement and Investment Dispute helps private investors and foreign countries work out differences when they don't agree. And the bank lends money to middle income countries at interest rates lower than the rates on loans from commercial banks. In addition, the bank lends money at no interest to the poorest developing countries, those that often and cannot find other sources of loans. Countries that borrow from the bank also have a much longer period to repay their loans than commercial bank allows and don't have to start repaying for several years. And that is how you leave generational debt for our grandchildren and great grandchildren to pay. They borrow the money from these places, low interest, and it just keep running for years and years and years. But you know what? Kennedy Sarraj Singh minister, he's amazed. They're looking at 2 billion US to 5 billion US over the next 5 years. So only look out. Look out. So I'm seeing they're speaking about new new way to rejuvenate the rice sector. I was like, what? Okay. You were rejuvenated. So it means to me there's nothing there. Never find it. Right. Excuse me. So this was hi Donna, hi E. Shorty, Kevin James, Alana Gonzalez, my dear. Thank you. I see Roxanne. So it says here, TNT once had a thriving rice industry, but several factors led to the near death of the local cultivation of the staple, ranging from disasters such as flood to late payments to farmers from flour mills, national flour mills, resulting in the inability to pay their loans to the Agricultural Development Bank of Trinidad and Tobago. Also, a 10-year plan drafted in 2014 and estimated to cost taxpayers almost $500 million to breathe new life into the struggling rice industries never got properly off the ground, farmers complain. A 81-page report entitled TNT Rice Industry Development Plan for 2014-24 and drafted by technocrats in the then Ministry of Food Production focused on addressing food sovereignty, diversifying the economy, and reducing the country's $5 billion food import bill. In light of the 2007-28 rice prices crisis, the plan pointed out that many governments place greater emphasis on promoting self-sufficiency in rice, which it outlined TNT needs to focus on. However, 8 years later, TNT still has to rely on Guyana for its rice. According to the United National Comtrade database of international trade, TNT imports of rice from Guyana total US 18.6 billion during 2024. Now the new administration led by Kamala Persad is on a mission to resuscitate the local rice sector and strengthen national food security with the distribution of certified high-yielding disease-resistant rice from Guyana. I don't know if the minister is aware of this. I don't know.
Rice production field, and we are on the road to producing rice to feed this nation. We are here with the Akaluts and the other rice farmers.
This crop of rice is environmentally friendly. We use neem product to control all the insects, and we use less fertilizers.
We did not think that was possible, that we had to use a lot of parachute technologies to control the pest. The crop was managed using new technology. That's a miracle for the people who listen to this. This particular project this morning being undertaken by the farmers within the Caroni area. This is part of an overall program of revitalizing the local rice industry. Just witness the harvesting of the rice in this area. If you look across the area, see a field flooded with rice, ready to harvest.
We must thank the minister, for being here and, setting the pace, really listening to the farmer and their needs.
Policy rice. So it was revitalizing already. So what has it been revitalized? It's not a continue what is happening there. You ain't hear nobody come out and say nothing the PNM. They're waiting for internal election when they get handed the political leader and who is the general secretary and who is, That's more important than talking about on national issues. So let me continue. I'll give an opinion. So I do intend I intend to stay long on this thing, or just give me a minute here again. So as I say, in wage wars for monthly and daily paid workers in local government and defense, the UNC missteps and bungling continued. Daily paid workers in local government and at the Ministry of Defense have added their voice. So let me just open that quickly. I tell all you, I saw this off on your source page. The UNC missteps and bungling continues. Daily paid workers in local government and at the Ministry of Defense have added that's 1 day ago, their voice to the list of government employees who have not yet been paid. They have the list of government employees who have not been paid. A source contacted us to say, good morning, I saw your post concerning WASA employees. Please know that San Fernando City Corporation monthly and daily LOL employees have not been paid as yet. The source went on to say, we are hoping to go to work today and hear the check is ready for collection in Port of Spain. The check hasn't been released yet. When the check is released, our courier goes to Port of Spain to collect. Then it's deposited in SFCC bank account. South First Citizen Bank, I think that should be. Then the employees get paid. Daily paid workers under the Ministry of Defense are reporting similar problems. Their salaries are 8 days overdue, and they have been given a range of excuses, ranging from bank mix-up, that's what they say, an error in WASA, lost checks, and finally having to get the ministry to reissue checks to pay salaries. In the meanwhile, employees are low on funds and wondering how they will pay their bills. Employees it had to be South First Citizen, SFCC, are unsure if they can even make it to work. No, that's San Fernando City Corporation, my bad. So it's deposited in the San Fernando's. Okay, so when I said the San Fernando First Citizen, it was that the San Fernando City Corporation, the checks are deposited in that account, right? So the employees of the San Fernando City Corporation are unsure if they can even make it to work today on Monday, which is today and Monday, due to lack of funds, and that was yesterday, I guess. lack of funds, and dance around they are getting for payment. It now started early, right? But only didn't want to go out and vote. Only let people chain up all their head to tell all about Stuart Young. I'll give all that story just now. I'll give all that story just now. And that is the reason so I see the judiciary, that thing about the police station being used as courthouse and all that, there was a response from them. Let me see if I get it directly from this area here. So it says here, the judiciary of Trinidad and Tobago has taken note of the Trinidad and Tobago's Express headline, Get Courts Out of Stations, and the accompanying article. Alexander stresses need to free up space for officers. Police stations are not courts. Published on Thursday, the 29th of May 2025. The article reports on statements allegedly made by the Honorable Roger Alexander MP, Minister of Homeland Security. Judiciary policy in criminal matters is that charged persons appear same day virtually and without the need to be transported to a courthouse. This arrangement does not convert police stations into courtrooms. It just puts the accused in front of a computer for a virtual appearance. For subsequent hearings, including trials, the accused persons are to appear from either a prison, if the person is not on bail, B, a judiciary virtual access customer center, some of which are in the court buildings, or a courtroom in which the matter is to be heard in person. So I just want to ask a question. The Honorable and esteemed Judge Israel Khan, who is, I think, the president of the Law Association, I'm not mistaken. He doesn't know about this. I'm just asking. I just asked him. But when you see in office, everything is chaos. So as I was saying, I'm seeing, I'm going to read this and see what's in this. This is something I saw from PNM Citadel Initiative, something written by Roy Mitchell. It says, a second word of caution. Stubborn children are repeatedly cautioned by their parents, who can't hear will feel. A 70-year-old, at 70 years old, the People's National Movement seems stuck in the proverbial second childhood, stubbornly defying the voices of reason in a bizarre rush to elect permanent executive officers 3 months prior to the constitutionally due date, as if time is running out. So I'm saying, this is what I'm putting. The same thing they accuse Dr. Keith Christopher Rowley and MP Stuart Young, SC, of rushing to call the date for a general election. And then doing the same thing for the internal election. Why they can't leave it for it to run its course until when it is constitutionally due? People get the audited membership list if there's one, but get the membership list and get things in a proper order. Why they rushing? Clearly, they have learned nothing from precedents. They did the identical thing in 1987 with ongoing disastrous consequences. Following the 1986 NAR 33 battering and the immediate resignation of defeated political leader George Chambers, they rushed to elect a new political leader despite being cautioned. In an open letter from a concerned member to the General Council, they were advised that the haste was fraught with danger. It was the first time the then 30-year-old party was unequivocally committed to electing a brand new political leader. Wisdom dictated that crucial core criteria be diligently established. The elected leader be undoubtedly capable of riding the storm and keep the PNM philosophical underpinnings alive, healthy and unwavering. The letter questioned, to what advantage is haste in this present circumstances? Moreover, the author advised, let's first, as a responsible party, attempt to set the basic parameters and establish the attributes with which the new political leader should be eminently endowed. Generally speaking, a strong multilateral leadership profile with proven diplomatic negotiating capabilities must command nationwide multi-sectoral attention, have demonstrated a track record of selfless commitment to the citizenry, self-motivated, must be seen to stand head and shoulders higher above contemporary counterparts, and to be an exemplar source of endearing inspiration and hope to the nation's young citizens. Let me read what it is they're talking about here, a leader, especially in these times that we're talking back in the 33-3 era, that is needed. Let me say it again. Let's first, as a responsible party, attempt to set the basic parameters and establish the attributes. Hold on to that word attributes, eh? Hold on to that word attributes are coming to something. Remember that word. Establish the attributes in which the new political leader should be eminently endowed. Generally speaking, a strong multilateral leadership profile with proven diplomatic negotiating capabilities must command nationwide multi-sectoral attention, have demonstrated a track record of selfless commitment to the citizenry, self-motivated, must be seen to stand head and shoulder higher above contemporary counterparts, and be an exemplary source of endearing inspiration and hope to the nation's young citizens. Given the then prevailing socio-political circumstances, the author counseled that elections of such a critical office had required deep and abiding contemplation and should not have been compromised by the haste to which being subjected. For in the final analysis, what the party should have been seen to be engaged in was an intellectually based forum to elect an appropriate futuristic prime minister. The writer continued, excuse me, to have rushed to do so was a prescription of self-destruction. Today, the PNM membership is yet to be clearly seized of the cause and effect of the general election 2025 trashing. Theories speculatively abound. At this juncture, the party leadership should be immersed in an in-depth review of what went wrong. Let not emotion take precedent over analytical assessment. These sentiments have previously expressed in 1987. All prevail today, regrettably, under much more intricate circumstances. In typical egotistic, the entreaties were ignored, the author rebuked. In the aftermath, the PNM found itself floundering in decline, losing ground amongst the electorate. In a follow-up letter 1 year later, 1988, the author again appealed to the General Council petitioning. It appears very regrettably that the question of the leadership of the PNM is developing as a serious issue within the ranks of the party. This is most unfortunate since, perhaps with a little patience and vision, exercised at the right time, the party could have spared itself the embarrassment, this very critical setback, at a time when it should have been well on the way to full recovery and to be at the stage of fine-tuning itself for an eventuality that is likely to develop given the political climate in the country today. That was in 1988. The author expressed concerns that ignoring my appeal had found the party paying the price for its undue haste. He proffered if ever a party was given more than ideal opportunity and ample time to have conscientiously and I ain't gonna get this word to this, I'm spelling it for you. Surreptitiously. I think that's it, right. Don't tell me say it over. Selected a political leader. It was the PNM, and the PNM goofed the opportunity, blew it to the wind, and having ignored the recommendations, the party is in a no man's land. Disunity reigns. Lack of confidence in a political leader is gaining currency. Members' interests has waned and other political forces are now taking center stage. He admonished the party, you have wronged yourself. You have not given yourself a fair chance. When the opportunity was ideal to search your soul and chart a new direction and then find the right political leader to take you there. He contended that the new leader did himself an injustice and his party a disservice by grasping at the leadership opportunity before he was ready. He expressed the view that, like an innocent sheep, he fed himself to the wolves, and now both he and the party are paying the price. Since that 1987 misguided haste, the PNM has never truly been its distinguishing self. It has lost its soul, shifted away from its illustrious moorings, its persona incredibly indiscernible, election fortunes erratically fluctuating. I know of this precedent only too well. I authored the two letters, not me. Humble yourself and retreat. Give the party a chance, a fair chance. The alternative is chilling. And the person who wrote this was Roy Mitchell, and he was warning the People's National Movement in the 33-3 situation. Don't rush things. Sit back and get a proper leader, one that the country and the young people could follow head and above the rest and all that. And asking all their question. Is the opposition leader we have now, could that opposition leader fit the description that this man was given that the PNM should consider when electing a political leader? Asking all their questions. Because I understand it as some of them who pushing she now to be opposition leader. I understand was cussing and saying all kind of things about she. All kind of things about she. And then the mouth twist. So let me continue. I'm also seeing that the oil companies, the gas companies, before I go there, questionable selection of the House Speaker. Lord Father, I don't know if I could see this thing properly. No, let me see. Someone should tell our esteemed Prime Minister Kamala Persad to cool it because she does not have the moral authority to question the opposition People's National Movement selection in the Senate, judging from a choice of Speaker in the House of Representatives. I truly understand the implication of a court ruling in rehabilitating offenders. Nothing really prevents a political party from rewarding its foot even if they are caught in minor breaches of the law, but not bribery, fraud, or corruption. Sensitivity demands cognizance of the nature of the offense, minor non-criminal misdemeanors, or even misdemeanors, and even alleged crimes during war of political liberation will hardly raise eyebrows in the same way as criminal offenses, especially if such convictions are waived on legal technicalities. The government benches reflect political characters who are or have faced legal challenges. These legal challenges are criminal matters not related to any war of political liberation, and therefore questions of quality of the pool of candidates from which the leaders had to choose. The PNM benches in both houses do not have that problem. The fact that some of the PNM upper house appointees had lost their seats in the 2025 general election is of less concern because Basil Pandey appointed 3 losing candidates to the Senate in his time. And Persad Bissessar is doing the same in both the 13 Republican Parliament. Where is her moral authority in this matter? It is instructive to know that in Southern Africa, most of the countries coming out of the wars of liberation into independence had been led by politicians who spent years in jail. They were deemed insurrectionists or insurgents, guerrillas, and terrorists by their colonial masters. Mahatma Gandhi was mocked as a half-naked Farik, or by the British in his struggle for India's independence. But their struggle had a moral underpinning aimed at freedom for the masses under subjugation. There is no real moral equivalence in terms of the appointment of our new speaker. His appointment cannot be justified on the basis of jail freedom fighters as Nelson Mandela, Oliver Tambo, Winnie Mandela of South Africa, Jawaharlal Nehru of India, Julius Nyerere of Tanzania, Robert Mugabe of Zimbabwe, Kenneth Kaunda of Zambia, Kwame Nkrumah of Ghana, Sam Nujuma of Nubia, or Jomo Kenyatta of Kenya. This reminds me of a heckling episode at a public political meeting in Barrackpore in the constituency of Victoria during the 1940s. Elections were mostly contested by individuals now described as independents. So there was Napoleon, a notorious village character recently released from prison after serving his sentence. He signed up as a candidate for the election. He was launching his campaign, and as he stood under a ragu shop, ready to speak, the heckling began. There were shouts from various corners of the small crowd of thief, you big thief, we're trying, you big thief. This did not bother Napoleon. He insisted on clearing his name. He began his defense using the best of the king's language. I paid my dues, so I ain't know what you're talking about. Drawing from his limited knowledge of India's independent movement, he sought to justify his candidacy as belching out, Gandhi went to jail, Nehru went to jail, Chandra Bose went to jail. But before he could finish his defense, a heckler retorted, but they didn't go to jail for thieving a bull. The crowd burst into roars of laughter. This was written by Harry Potter, former MP. That one put a laugh to me. I am seeing that oh God, oh dear. You remember when MP Stuart Young had to tell this government, UNC government, that he did not see them gazette Paria no heritage. And he got some concerns about that. And thereafter, they would have gone and did exactly what he was telling them ought to be done. I don't know why it is they're running from the fact that Stuart R. Young SC, that's the man who would have brought home all what they're going to be, this country is going to be benefiting now from all these fines and gas. It came out of Dr. Keith Christopher Rowley and Stuart R. Young SC, not the UNC and not Rural Munilal. I see some illiterate put, or the PNM was suffocating before that we didn't get nothing. They don't realize that you're not going to gas in 1 month, 1 year, 2 years, or 3 years. The work for it has been put down about 10 years prior. All those times when Minister Stuart Young and Dr. Rowley were flying out to Hague, they wasn't just meeting with local gas and oil people here, BP and Shell. They went out to the parent companies and they were inviting and making contracts and negotiating contracts. That is what now. Under this UNC that is happening, they see they quiet, they can't say nothing. They ain't dare jump out and says Rulan Munilal who negotiate anything. They ain't dare jump out and says the UNC negotiated anything. They have to keep quiet because you know what happened in this social media time? Thank God for social media. Minister Stuart Young, I told you what he made the energy sector so exciting because he told us what is happening. He put it out on the pages there. So you're able to see. So that you see the work that he was doing and meeting with these gas and oil giants all over the world. So they could never come now and say the UNC do that. That is all for the hard work, the negotiating skill, the experience, the expertise of Minister, my member of Parliament, then Prime Minister, before Minister Energy and Energy Industries, Stuart Richard Young, SC. It's all for the hard work of him. And because of the transformational leader that Dr. Keith Christopher Rowley was, saw that ability in him and send them out. The first thing he had to do is run up to Japan because the UNC, former PP, with Kevin Ramnarine, the energy minister, leave Trinidad and Tobago with a 900 million, I think it was a billion US dollar bill to pay back the Japanese. And Dr. Rowley knew if they called for the money, we had to go straight to IMF. So he went out with Stuart Young out in Japan all day and renegotiated that deal. And then Minister Stuart Young continued. So all that you're seeing, so I'm seeing here that Heritage Petroleum has announced that it has successfully stewed well FR1 1831 located in Forest Reserve. Again, that has nothing to do with UNC or Rural Munila. That has been in the works for how much years? Heritage Petroleum has announced that it has successfully stowed well FR1 831 located in Forest Reserve. A news release posted on the Energy Chamber website yesterday noted that according to a statement from the company, the new wells marks the fifth in the company's 2025 land drilling campaign and represents continued commitment to development for onshore assets. It noted that the well builds on the success of FR1819 well, which was drilled in 2022. Who was in office in 2022? You think that Heritage and them could have just gone and dig Ting just up? Which targeted the upland middle cruise sands in the Forest Reserve field. The new release added that well FR1831 will be drilled to a depth of about 6,000 feet, measured depth using WSL Rig 80 with a planned drill time of 15 days. Initial production is expected to be 56 barrels per day. And that is still a shortfall because in order to have the refinery up and running successfully, the refinery capacity is about 140 something thousand barrels anywhere around there. So they're drilling and getting 50 something just now. They're drilling and getting 56 barrels of oil per day. Is still a shortfall. But it is good to know because we have small drillers here like AV Drilling, who I think contribute about 50,000 barrels a day, if I'm not mistaken. Right? So its audited results, Heritage Petroleum posted a profit before tax of 2.30 billion in 2024. Who was the government in 2024? 2023, 2.18 billion. Who was the government in 2023? The company also noted that as at September 30th, 2024, since its inception, it contributed 14.75 billion to the government in royalties, levies, and other taxes. It also noted that the capital expenditure increased by 23% to 1.8 billion in 2024, 880 million 2023, reflecting continued investment in production, asset integrity, developmental drilling, and infrastructure and technology. Who would have created Heritage and Paria? It wasn't Rural Munila, the minister, nor was it UNC. All that is the work of Dr. Keith Christopher Rowley and the negotiating skills in all them deals and gas deals and oil deals, Stuart R. Young. So no matter what they say, they got to call his name. They didn't want to call it in a place where I was, but they go call here because here was more important. I'm going to reach into that address now. Today's our holiday, so we could go just a little. Munilal meets 3 energy companies, and somebody asked meet them for what? Because we want to know if Dr. Rulal Munilal, the Honorable, have any negotiating skill. Is he trained in petroleum and chemicals? Is he trained in anything to do with gas and oil and all that? Is he? So they will meet with him. People say, oh, they meet. Yes, they will meet with him. What do you expect them to do? To run him? They will meet with him and talk whatever, but nothing might come out of that. Because when you negotiating, everything has been set in play already by Stuart Richard Young SC. Everything, everybody know him. Nobody know Dr. Munilal. They invited Stuart Richard Young SC as the keynote speaker to speak at an international forum for negotiators. That's how good he is. So all this meeting, that formality thing, that photo ops here and Cesar and them, see the money man who went, what is his name? Ernesto Cesar and them thing. I hear it is alleged that Ernesto Cesar, it is alleged, me and the man. The man know that thing. The man know, yeah, nothing. So, I don't know if this is a photo ops, but you ain't expect the men and them and the VP and them and whatever not to meet with you. They go meet and take picture, but when they walk away, they must be saying, where's your tea, boy? Where's your tea? They ain't hire your tea, boy? Minister of Energy, Dr. Rulal Munilal, and Minister in the Ministry of Energy, Ernesto Cesar or Cesar, met with Perenco, BP, and Woodside Energy on Tuesday to discuss project updates. The ministry said at the meeting, Dr. Munilal highlighted the government's vision for the energy sector. And for the emergence of TNT as the energy capital of the region, in addition to working with stakeholders to increase production of the country's hydrocarbon resources. You see what I tell them? They must listen to here and say, we don't deal with all them already. When the sorty come down, we don't think we don't treat them, do thing we don't. But we talking about. Wait as we have to deal with now, but the ministers received update for Perenco and its operation and commended the company for its work it has done in the country, particularly in extending the life of operation assets and for its expertise in unlocking potential from mature to marginal fields. Perenco emphasized the importance of its operation to the company's global portfolio and committed to continued focus on investments in the country. The ministry said Perenco recent agreement with Woodside Energy concerning the acquisition of the Greater Angostura assets, as well as ongoing works in the TSP, Teak Saman Pui block, as well as the CAFI, Kashima, Amherstia, Flamboyant, Immortel, and Parang fields demonstrated the company's commitment to pursue production of hydrocarbon resources in TNT. The meeting with Woodside Energy highlighted the importance of its operations to the company's global portfolio. While the company has taken the decision to divest its assets in the Greater Angostura area, Woodside Energy remains committed to pursuing opportunities in TNT as demonstrated by the ongoing work in the Calypso field with its joint venture partners BPTT. Dr. Munilal commended the company for its work and reiterated the government's interest in the pursuit of projects such as Calypso's apparently. Why is Dr. Munilal saying the same thing over and over? The people and them don't know already. They had a contract, they had a thing set up, them doing the work. Oh God, leave the people and them alone now. Just don't go wrong the people and them. Get a report from them. Don't go wrong and go wrong the people. I don't think they want to say because you ain't no help to them. You and CESA no help to them people. Or they can negotiate nothing. No, they can nothing. Left the people and them let they do the work, let they pay the corporate taxes properly, and anything they find, check, make sure the contract, they follow the contract. But leave the people and them alone. Oh God, don't go visit them now. Don't go visit them. And with the meeting, BPTT, the minister recognized the strategies taken by the company to increase the competitiveness of existing operation while pursuing future development. BPTT acknowledged its long-standing presence as a major player in TNT oil and gas sector and emphasized the importance of these operations to the company's global portfolio. The company gave the assurance of its commitment to pursue opportunities in TNT to further develop the hydrocarbon resources of the country, as well as exploration of opportunities in suitable energy spaces. During the meeting, the ministry and BPTT discussed and agreed on several areas of immediate collaboration that will be progressed to enhance the contribution of the company to the energy sector. Here what I want to do. I want to tell our esteemed Minister of Energy, Minister Dr. Runa Munlal and Ernesto Cesar, well, they take a plane and go up in Hague, go in Texas, go in Hague, all go and meet with them. Don't meet with the local company. Go to the parent company. Go meet with them. See if they ask, where's Story? There's a Story here. Well, who are you? Or is that just my opinion? That is just my opinion. I just give an opinion. I just having fun. Oh God, every day we go be sour. So Stuart Young, one day I go congratulations to EOG and BPTT. Mentor was a project that we negotiated and got. You see what I mean? Great to see first gas production. So he showed up at October 2024, and that at time had a caption, preload out ceremony at Tufco Library for the Mentor platform. This is a joint venture between EOG and BPTT that will provide Trinidad and Tobago with energy security. It was rewarding to visit the yard and see firsthand the world-class work being done by our very own Trinidad and Tobago. By our very own in Trinidad and Tobago. This project is yet another one that we negotiated and secured for our country's results. So let me just show you the pictures and then. So this was, yeah. Do you see UNESCO Cesaro or Dr. Munilal anywhere there? And this was since, oh God, only just now. Give me a minute. I mean it. Oh God, you have to laugh at something, you know. This was October 2024. So people, when they see the jump on themselves and talk about them fine and because of that, it's because of all the hard work. Stuart Richard Young. And I want to show all of this, just to bring this back, refresh all the memory. Just to bring it back. If all they think I joking, listen to this.
And I want to share one further point here with the nation. When the Prime Minister met with the leaders of the energy sector, it was decided to establish what we call an empowered negotiating team of technocrats and led by two ministers. Myself as Minister of Energy and the Minister in the Office of the Prime Minister, the Honorable Stuart Young. And today, I want this nation to know that we owe a debt of gratitude to the Honorable Stuart Young for his contribution in this whole exercise. He has been very, very instrumental in these negotiations because as a litigation lawyer, he knew what to say, what not to say. I was there at his side. I've been an expert in the field of energy, but he was the expert negotiator. And both of us worked diligently together as a team to deliver these results for Trinidad and Tobago. That gentleman is young, he is bright, he's productive, he's an extremely hard worker.
And that there is deceased former Minister of Energy, Franklin Khan. And Mr. Khan didn't die in 2024. I don't think it's 2023, they're probably 2022, if I'm not mistaken. This was the right choice, August the 10th. So this may have been, excuse me, somewhere in about 20, somebody correct me, 20, 21, 22, anywhere around there. Can't remember the date really. And he's talking about who? Stuart R. Young, SC. He wasn't even SC then. And his negotiating skill and what he would have done in negotiating that. So that's why I beg Minister, the Honorable Dr. Roland Munilal and Minister Ernesto Cesar, stay out of the people we know. Lead them, let them do the thing. Don't go there and next thing, let's say something, chop it, and the people get vexed and left them alone now because all they had that kind of skill. Left it alone, left it alone. Let the people do the work and thing, wherever they go report, you have an investigating team and the report and then stop meeting the people and them. Because the people and them go want to know what is going on in this country. What is this? What? They don't nothing, they can't say nothing. Come on, leave them alone. Leave BP and them alone. Not because I'm saying we say, not that because of that. I'm talking about the expertise and things that they would expect, the professionalism that they would expect, having experience. A Stuart Richard Young, SC, that standard, this is my opinion, I'm giving mine. I didn't say that what the people say. I'm just imagining when you look at the two, leave BP and them alone. It had contracts and then kind of thing, heritage, they would work and whatever. Oh God, don't go wrong. I could see all there being a whole disaster. So let me get to this. When was during the heights of COVID-19, right in 2021, thank you, darling, which is Kevin, somebody, thank you all so much. So let me read this. Oh, well, let me see if I can find this thing. Let me read this. What makes an organization last long? I look it up and I saw. Organization lasts long when they prioritize strong leadership, boost a robust company culture, focus on continuous innovation and adaptation, and maintains a customer-centric approach. Furthermore, investing in employees, maintaining strong ethical standards, and demonstrating social responsibility contributes to long-term success. Now, you can take that organization and basically put it to other types of organizations, right? Key factors of organizational longevity. Strong leadership. Leadership with a clear vision, value, and mission are crucial for guiding the organization. Effective leaders foster a culture of trust, accountability, and collaboration. Robust company culture. A strong company culture characterized by shared values, open communication, and employee recognition creates a positive and motivating work environment. Continuous innovation and adaptation. Organizations must continuously innovate to stay ahead of competition and adapt to changing market dynamics and technological advancement. Focusing on customer needs and building strong relationships with customers is essential for long-term success. Investing in companies' development, training, well-being, help attract and retain top talent. Demonstrating a commitment to ethical behavior and transparency builds trust and enhances the organization's reputation. Organizations that prioritize social impact and contribute to well-being of society are more likely to be seen as valuable and lasting. Prudent financial management, including building reserves and efficiency, utilizing resources, is crucial to long-term sustainability. Organizations must be able to adapt to changing circumstances and be resilient in the face of challenges. Focusing on long-term goals and strategic planning helps organizations navigate challenges and seize opportunities. And by implementing these strategies, organizations can increase their chances of achieving long-term success and lasting impact. Take that and think about the People's National Movement and its longevity and why it has been able to persevere for these years. Now I am on a chat. I won't tell you what chat it is. That I'm very vocal about things. Just as I am here. No, I don't write anything that is offensive, or not in my opinion. I don't use obscenities, but I speak frankly. And anybody know me because that is my reputation. Jenny, Auntie Jenny, Sister Jenny, whoever she just talk, she might. But I'm also conscious of the fact that you have sometimes to know how to crouch your language and all that. I'm aware of all those things, having done communication, having done literature, having done tertiary education. You know you need those type of things. Yes, I've done tertiary education. I've not lived in the hills with a flag by a house and my head wrapped up and band up and the things that persons would have said about me as if that is something negative. But again, each to its own in how they choose to treat others. Because as I told somebody, anything that I say that you so get upset about is because it's a reflection of who you are. Because if you're coming to me straight, and if you're a person who dealing with truth and honesty, equal right and justice, you don't have to be perfect. When I speak anything, you wouldn't get offended because you know I come from that place. But anytime the words that I speak brings this affection to you, it's because you're seeing a reflection of yourself in the things that I'm saying, and it bothers you. So as I say again, I'm on this page where there are a lot of peoples who are PNM peoples, and I speak my mind as I see fit. Everybody knows that I support, and which to me is foolish that people wouldn't think I would. That is my member of parliament. And if my member of parliament is vying for a position or is in a particular position, my support is automatic, especially if the member of parliament, whether male or female, is doing the right thing in the interest of the people of the constituency or the people of the country. My support is automatic. You're a member of parliament, right? So I didn't hide that. My member of parliament was given the position of Prime Minister after Dr. Keith Christopher Rowley stepped down, and there was a process for that he followed from the Constitution, and there was some caucus in Tobago, and coming out of that, there was a commitment after a General Council meeting to support Stuart Richard Young. There were feelings that Dr. Rowley's strong arm and all kind of things would have been said. And in my opinion, if you didn't want it, stand your ground. I will stand your ground for that, not for no gun. Stand your ground. Whether who like it, lump it or what, once you know it is the right thing you're standing your ground for, stand your ground. So all who have issues now have to check themselves with the issues. So I would have put a post. In fact, not a post. I put up this video.
The man with the answer, but it's quite over yonder. They say, snake in the valley, snake in the valley,
This is Caribbean Vibes.
snake in the valley, and they biting hard. Snake in the valley, I'm sorry for Trinidad.
This is Caribbean Vibes.
Snake in the valley, and they biting hard. Snake in the valley, I'm sorry for
Right?
Trinidad.
Apparently somebody took offense to it and would have written. Might I ask exactly what is the purpose of this group? Seeing that nobody else wants to say it, maybe I should. If the intention is to prolong the party at every opportunity and not provide responsible, solution-oriented contribution, then I think Ms. Frederick should exit the group. Will the administrators kindly provide guidelines for this group? I'm tired of this. We all over Facebook and social media crying down the party, hoping somebody will learn, somebody will listen, as though all of us not aware of the issues we have faced. Let me also add that this is supposed to be a democratic party. It's supposed to be a democratic party, but I can't post something. And I must exit myself from the group. It's supposed to be a democratic party where everybody has the right to support a candidate or candidates of choice. Stop wasting people's time with the foolishness and dragging our own people, especially online. This is not a PNM, I know, and we surely will get nowhere unless we are serious and make sensible contribution with respect. To which I responded, what exactly about my contribution that seems to offend you and others? Is it because I'm hitting a nerve? I asked about the membership list. I asked why the opposition leader is not responding to national issues. I asked others, other than being a nice lady and being in the PNM a long time, what has the opposition leader done to show she has a capability or ability to lead the PNM? Is it because I said that the opposition leader was weak? Is it the fact that I mentioned that there are snakes in the Balizé have you all up in your feelings? I just asking. Were persons not going around Labre, Moruga, and environs telling PNN people not to vote for the PNN because Churchill represents the 1% and it's the blacks in the party should be leaders in the party? I asked a question. Were some persons telling PNN people that it's all right if PNM lose the general election because it will deal it back? And then I said, after that question, if some are seeing their own reflection in my comments, then they need to examine themselves. The person right back. You know anything about me at all? You will know that if you know anything about me at all, you will know that I'm never offended and never in my feelings. I drink no bush for nobody's illness. Fact. I've pointed out that you are overdoing it and this group is not for that. You are here busy making this your issue. The blind could see what you're doing. I can't speak for anybody else. I could talk for me. It's not yesterday we have problems in the party. The Honorable S. Young is a gentleman. I personally like and believe he has more to offer this country. He has in the past defended and supported me. But what you are doing, or in the manner in which you are doing what you are doing, makes little sense and does not help him or anyone else. If you find Penny is weak, that is your opinion. Others here find you rough, and perhaps you and won't tell you. That is certainly an attribute. You remember the word attribute? That is certainly an attribute the party well could do to part with if we are to survive. Let me also add, I was in a screening where it was said to me directly by the past political leader that this is a party of 33-3. It matters not if we lose, we will build it back. There were several people sitting right there that heard me. If you heard people saying so, I'm telling you that is where I heard it first. Nobody here see me beating the PNM from pillar to post, dragging everybody. Every family have issues and people will disappoint you, and the PNM is no different. If you don't have positive contribution to make, stop waste our time. I need no support with what I have to say and see no reflection in my comment. The party has to pick up and run again and do so quickly, simultaneously, addressing the issues of the past in a responsible way without doing further damage to the institution we all love. I write back. So it has reached to where you sane persons like me, rough, and that's an attribute that the PNM or the party will do well to part with. Do you understand how discriminatory you sound? I say you may be amazed to know how many opinions. You may be amazed to know that my opinion that Penny is weak is shared by many people in and out of the PNM. I said maybe you missed the memo. Trinidad and Tobago is still a space where every creed and race find an equal place, even rough people like me. The person said, I said what I said. It's an exclamation mark. So, said what I said. I said, so have I, my dear. I would inform the other rough people that in the PNM they are not welcomed. I said, stay pompous and blessed. And then I went on, oops, I forgot to add that for the internal election, remember, it's rough people like me all they want to vote. In the local government election, it's rough people like me all they want to vote. And in 2030, remember, it's rough people like me all they want to vote. I want to tell them in the PNM and in the executive places, if you all can take constructive criticisms by people who really want to see the party do well and only take it personal and talking about rough people, let me tell you, mister, I ain't only rough, I'm tough. I's Rasta. I stand for equal right and justice. I have a voice, and my voice will be heard. And people like you, Mr. Man, ain't gonna stop me from talking what is to be the truth and is the truth and will be the truth, because the truth can't hide. And if I want everybody in the PNM to be with a leg cross and cross the T's and dot the I's, I'm going to tell you, some of them who dotting the T's or crossing the T's and dotting the I with a leg cross and they're like blasted clothespin. They're pretending there's one thing in front of people, and when doors close, they're more rough and uncultured and classless than anything else. So know your blasted place. All you need to understand, this is 2025, and not everybody represent and speak like you. I may not speak the Queen's English. I may not have gone to convent or bishops. I went to Woodbrook Government Secondary School, of which I am very proud. I passed faith, I didn't get transferred. And if I want to speak in the tone that I speak and it's rough, then get some blasted balls and deal with it. Because I would expect as a woman would answer me back, is a man. So if all I want to go to a hunky-dory thing, when it comes to blasted election, don't come wrong people like we. Go wrong the hoity-toities. Go wrong them who are talking proper English. Go wrong them who the legs cross and the T's cross and the I dotted. Go wrong them. Go wrong the professionals alone and see if they can make all you win something. All you want to talk about people on the ground and so they want some of all here. Not everybody. Some of all here that the attitude that they have. Because I say the opposition leader weak. You think it's I alone saying that? Tone and Dale, what's the name? Dale and Tony was talking about that. People talking about it, they're writing about it all over. All you want to get on my case? Well, all you remove me from the chat. The administrators and them, delete my name from the chat. Because I'm rough. I ain't gonna stop being rough. So delete my name from the chat because apparently not everybody have a voice in it. All they can do what all they want. All they had an election to choose the chairman and the this and whatever it is. And people all out there talking, not me. Mr. Ashton for the General Secretary, former General Secretary of the PNM, he says so, me and I learning. He said people voted in that election, it was not election but a vote. That is how Dr. Nine Gaspy and whoever get voted in. They were voted by people who it wasn't legal for them to vote. Why all them challenge that? When all was speaking the opposition leader is 13 members of parliament win the seat, why all only call 6? And leave out the next 6? Why all they do that? Why the membership list? People asking for it. Where's the membership list? The list. Who in charge of the membership list? Has the membership list been audited? When was the last time? People talking that? Why you ain't go and tell them that they're rough and those attributes are not what the PNM want? Again, you're blasted fast and out of place. You're just lucky me and call your blasted name because I don't do them kind of thing. So they continue with that hoity-toity. Dr. Eric Eustace William built this as a movement, not a movement for white people or Chinese people or Indian people or African people or Caucasian people or Syrian people. He built it for all are we. And he went to village to village to village to village, rural village to meet the people, the rough people. Some of them ain't go to school, never finished school. Is there where he went? People's National Movement. Not hoity-toity movement. So if I don't want to hear people like me speak, because I'm rough, and I'm making noise, well, all they sit down, they all with their mouth twist and the things whatever, the character dirty. People will prefer to hear me talk than some of them who crossing the T's and dotting the I's and the foot cross and the dainty. People prefer to hear me talk than some of them. Why all you answer the people? What I say is what the people say. We love the People's National Movement and we want them to come back strong. But that old-time thinking alone, if Dr. Eric Eustace William, in my opinion, was alive today, he would have flowed with the new times and come with more innovative and creative ideas to take we through. Only had that opportunity of saying it here with Stuart Richard Young. But like when they get frightened when they see the kind of love he getting, because they ain't getting that. Like when they get frightened to see that he could take the party to heights that all they could never take the party, and like that frightened all they talking about black caucus and black my ass. Because they thought the blackest man was the Prime Minister and leader of the People's National Movement, Dr. the Honorable Keith Christopher Rowley. And all they say to black and ugly to be the Prime Minister. Tell me, somebody didn't say that. When the UNC was attacking the man character left, right, and center, them who talking about a rough, all they come out and defend the man because all you feel he's a Rottweiler and he do man and this and he no right there, he too black and all that. So what the hell are they telling me now? But attribute rough. Yes, we rough. And we tough. Only to blasted deceitful. Only to run out and defend Mr. Manon. If Mr. Camille Robinson raises the head of the Women's League and put out something in defense, and you always come out and say anything, always make videos and say anything, only make a social media live and say anything, as we used to be doing that. Nobody had to tell we do that because we know what they're doing was wrong. Only to blasted, dirty, evil, rattlesnakes. Fork tongue. Eh? Or they're telling people if they join with all you, it is alleged, they ain't gonna have the seat as a member of parliament. People have to join with all you because what? Eh? Why are they doing that? If all they so know, all they have it in the bag and all they doing things right way, why people ain't come to all you willingly Or they have to coerce people. Eh? It is alleged. Or they know very well. Or they know very well that Mrs. Penelope Beckers Robinson cannot lead the People's National Movement. All they know that is a fact. But because all they want to toe the line, some of all because some of all has something to get, because some of all want to get something, because some of all just give up on their own business, or they just want to go along to get along. I'm not one of them. We want that strong. Marsha Walker, she ain't no fan of mine. She talking more than the opposition leader. Tell me a line now. We ain't hear nothing. But want to tell me it's a nice. What does have to do with anything? And let me tell all something. If all is saying when she get in there, then we'll see the real. But then you know what? If that is all saying like deceitfulness, that is underhandness. And that have me more worried. Because show me who you is now. Show me who you is. Don't wait till they go inside it to show me nothing. Yeah? So who don't like me, that's quite okay. I love me. Who find that they don't want me around the PNM, that is quite okay. I don't have to be around the PNM. You understand? Who when they see me want to shun me, that is all the business. Who want to whisper when they see me? I remember when they opened at the Balize house. I go on to bring the thing live so all they could see, because I know I just go all over the place and bring things for them to see whatever. The time I can come in, they get security at certain operations. Peoples get security to come and stand by the door and say I can't come in. Yeah, I tell you all, yeah? But I'll say it again. Those who have problems with me and the things I'm saying is because all they see a reflection of the wickedness and evilness and nastiness in the things I'm saying. And it bothering all them. So those study me. It have a next one will be on social media who everything Mr. Manning, he's Mr. Manning, everything. Start to talk about my mental distance. That's the first place all they just go. First all they so not creative and all they thinking. So because I'm talking the truth and all they can dispute what I'm saying, the next thing all they're going to attack my character and talk about my mental issue. Anyone I blasted all is a doctor. I see some of the behavior in a particular when I could say the same thing about all you. I put up and say that Kamala Persad when he gained 400 plus votes in 2025. Oh, somebody come to intellectualize. And I have to put up and show them what I'm talking about. In 2020, Kamala Persad get 13,400 and something votes. In 2025, she get 13,900 and something votes. If you take away 13,400 and something from 13,900 and something, and they get about 400 plus votes. So it means to say her support has not grown. And I'm sure some of that 400 votes she got extra probably is children who now 18 years old voting for the first time, and they know in the Indian household they tell me that them children does vote and say well they don't have to tell them to vote, them go in and vote. But you would expect she get about 2,000 extra, 3,000 extra. She didn't get that. And when you look at the 9 constituency where the PNM lost, when you add up how much the candidates lose by, about 15,000 something votes. And if Kamala Persad only get 413 votes extra from 2020 to 2025, that is 5 years that she ain't getting nothing much. And if the PNM would have been in office today, had 15,008 something, so about approximately, would have gone out and vote in the 9 constituency and distributed the 15,000, PNM would have been in office. And had people not been walking around and going to Labre in them areas and telling them, don't vote Stuart Young, we better win Labre, Moruga. table and point forth in. If they had listened to the person who they wanted down for Moruga down there, who knows? But again, people, in my opinion, had their agenda. But all they do, the PNM, nothing. The PNM is an institutional building empty. All they do, all they self. All they do, Stuart Young, nothing. It's the people who love the PNM and continue to come out and support the PNM and want to see a good government in office to run this country, because in the absence of the PNM, it's chaos, background confusion. All they to blame today, all they was doing them things, all they to blame today for what the PNM is. Don't blame people like me who always saying about rough. And finally, before I go, the Sunday, because I'm rough. So me a culture, me not like rough. I'm not the attribute that the PNM wants. The Sunday before the general election, I went to a press service. The press service was for one person. And in that press service, they anoint a next person. I had challenges with that. Because you can't have a service for one person. The person not there, the service is for them, but you anoint somebody else. You ain't anoint somebody from the bloodline, but somebody else totally. And I felt to myself, this press service wasn't for that person, this press service was for that person. What kind of decoy thing and all them kind of thing are they trying by? Come out straight and talk. Come out straight and come in the open and do all the thing. In the old, everybody see when they for you against ever. This pretending or they supporting and then behind people back. Or let's stop them thing now. I know it's a human thing, but they could rise above that because all they have the education, remember, it's rough. Or they have all the education and all the this, and all they could cross all the T's and dot all the I's, and all they could speak of the Queen's English, or they could pronounce all the words I can pronounce, and all they could be dainty, and all they could jacket and tie, and all they could be doing them thing. But then they do things to that class now. All they doing things to my level. Or they up there. Do things up there. Don't do things to somebody like me who my attributes are not welcome in the PNM. Don't do it like my level. But I want to tell you, when we're going to look for votes, go for the people, the attitudes and who are there. Don't go for the rough people. Don't go for the rough and tumble people to go and walk the road and canvass. Don't come for the rough people, because those who are there in the office, they ain't coming out to canvass and they ain't coming out to do one shit. I want to end by saying, I love you all. See you all on Monday. Monday goes when I come in something fresh, something new. And I also want to say at the end of the day, the issues that the PNM have is nothing unusual. People put it out in social media. I didn't put things out in social media. All they know went on social media and put it out there, like, in my opinion, them had a plan. A connected plan. They had cells all over, a connected plan. So do this, do this, do this, do this. And they played out PNM issues all out on social media instead of it in the General Council. Where it's supposed to be, they trash it out, they walk it out, they toss it out, whatever, in General Council. They bring it in. Go blame them. Or then find them rough. Or then find the attributes of them people. It's not what the PNM want. Or they bounce are jokers, but you know what? People like me who rough, we will continue to stand in defense of what is right, to continue to hold hope that the People's National Movement will come back stronger and better so that they're ready for local government election and general election. But I tell them all this something. If that the opposition leader all they have now is who are banking on to take us there, all you do the maths. Let me see all who here. I tried to see all who here, I don't know it has happened. Oh, sorry, I touched the wrong thing, yes. Sarah, Leslie, Kim, Avion, Lydia, Gail, Andrew, Philo, Alice, Marlon, Lucy, Bernadine, Gretel, Fitzgerald, Felix, Ruthven, Errol, Emelda, Andre, Marilyn, Rhonda, Dandy, Sandra, Roxanne, Patricia, Joy, Anne-Marie, Black Pearl, Yvonne, Kiara, Hollister, Judy, Margaret, Claire, Humilta, Alison, Kenneth, Leno, Michael, Philomen, Angie, Lennox, Lydia, Bunty, Brenda, Mary. Mary had anything for you, just then drop it. You're supposed to drop it yet, right? Arlene, Margaret, Cheryl, Janet, Valerie, Hazel, Roland, E.A., Shorty, Hadara, Caroline, and Emmeline. I want to thank you all for always coming to stay tuned in and locked in to Love It All the Thing. Again, happy Indian Arrival Day to the Indian community, the Muslim, Catholics, and Hindus who came under indentureship in 1845. And you all would have done well and have contributed at all levels to Trinidad and Tobago to make it a better, richer, happier place that we can be and we should be and we ought to be if it wasn't for some people. And to the PNM peoples, the ones in high office, rethink how you all think about people who looks like me and who have a voice and who speaks like me. Rethink that. And rethink who you all going to put as political leader. Rethink the opposition leader. Rethink your strategies for taking us forward. And see if all the wheeling and dealing and this and that and back this, if it will be worth it, if PNM remains in opposition. Just ask yourself that now. For once in all your life, do what is right for Trinidad and Tobago now. For once in all your life, do what is right for the people who depends on a party that will take us somewhere. For once in all your life, do something in other people's interest and all their own now. Because while all they might have the money and the education, this and not everybody, it has some rough like me, plenty rough like me. And depends on a proper political party in our governance to deal with our affairs. Not because we want something, we want to beg for something, but because you understand the importance of having a people's national movement in office. Not all of we just come with the hand stretched out. And even though people come with the hand stretched out because they want something, because they need something. So again, a rough and a tough. And if all they want, remove my name from all the chat. That's all they have to do. You have to write me no long sermon, but my attitude and aptitude and a rough, and I doing this. And if I choose to support Stuart Richard Young, that is my blasted business and my right. And if in my opinion, I'm saying that the political leader of the People's National Movement, she presents to be weak. She has a low energy. A low vibe. That is my right also to say so. I never said Tom, Dick, and Harry join with me and tell me to say so. I, Jennifer Frederick, say so. And I mean no disrespect because I'm concerned about where the PNM is now in terms of leadership. And all the confusion and talking here, I didn't bring it outside. I didn't bring it outside General Council. Go and talk to who bring it outside General Council. Go and talk to all who was going on and encouraging people not to vote. Because not the first time people do that. I hear people went up in Arima and people had no vote against people and the people lost their seat. All in all, the blasted history. Don't study me. I'm proud to be rough. I'm proud to be tough. I'm proud to be black. I'm proud to be a woman. I'm proud to be Rastafarian. Rastafari. All have a blessed one. I'm gone. Love all the see all the Monday. God space. Stay safe.
Yum, 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 yum.